Welcome to the Shellonomics Podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Mictus.
Easter weekend is approaching in here in 2026. We're going to have some more Easter eggs in these last two books here, guys. This is the end of the IDW era for Volume 1. We have books 17 and 18, and if you stick around for the end of this podcast episode, Christian and I are going to break down the rankings here for the 7 comics issues we have covered from the beginning all the way to here. Dude, this is it. I've been excited for Armageddon. You know I've been waiting all week to talk to you. We've got a quick little startup before with Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit in book 17. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get new with the artwork. And I'm curious to hear your final thoughts as we break these down. And, dude, feel free to get us started right here, my guy.
Man, how far we've come. Start with IDW collection number 17. And it starts with a short story taken from the 40th anniversary comic celebration that came out in 2024. That's taking place here, called Teen Spirit. And it's just a little short story, a little flashback to the training of the Turtles that we talked about last time, where the Turtles trained with Oroku Saki. And it's about when the Saki left the 5 Turtles alone to train on their own. After a while, they started fooling around with their mystic techniques that they learned from Saki. And this activated the dark energy in the thin place where they are right now. And dark manifestations of creatures started to form. And the Turtles realized that they have to stay calm and not fight these creatures to calm these spirits, which they do. So they overcome this obstacle together. And when Saki later comes back, he sees that everything is cool again, and the Turtles act like nothing happened. Like, no, everything was fine. There were no creepy creatures or anything. Saki just laughs it off and like, okay, we shall continue with our training. So, a nice little flashback to the training to get us into the spirit of the story, I guess.
It's just like if this was going to be a movie, that's where you start and then pop. The opening credits roll, Armageddon game, number 1. So here we go. And before you get into it, I just have to do 2 little props here. Number 1, they just give us all the Easter eggs. Daddy-O! You get to see neutrinos talk like Daddy-O, so it's getting me as a kid again, all jacked up for the 87 series. And it's going to be interesting how you break down when Baxter, who rarely shows weakness, shows fear in his face in this one, dude.
Well, yeah, so this is it. This is the big one. Armageddon game number 1, the big, really Armageddon game that was back then. It was like this big comic event story. And here it starts with the first issue. And Red King, he's the big bad. He starts his game, and the Turtles and Shredder have a meeting with Karai to work together and to find potential allies to fight against the Red King and his allies. So Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Saki leave for Dimension X to search for the Nova Squadron and Cherube. And the others stay in New York and look for Old Hop. In Dimension X, the team teams up with Zack and Kala, the Neutrinos. And meanwhile, soldiers of the Null group attack and knock out Leatherhead to bring Krang to Madame Null, because Krang is still inside Leatherhead. And they want to team up with Krang. And Dr. Barlow, he's back. He's the one who is ordered to operate on Leatherhead to get Krang out of his stomach. And then Baxter has a press conference when suddenly he gets attacked by 4 mysterious turtles, and the Dark Water soldiers, they get ready to shoot them. And it's like, oh, Baxter is in trouble here. That's exactly what you meant.
Yeah, I did not. It was pretty cool seeing Baxter show fear because, again, it's just the shock value. It's taken until about book 17. Even in the other comics, or in other versions of Baxter, we've seen him whiny. I always like Baxter when he's just, cocky, narcissistic, like we've talked before in the 2003 season. I still say that's the best Baxter. This one's a very close second or third, right around there, though, because of what he's done. I mean, he got to be the frickin' mayor, for goodness sake. So, he's pretty damn intelligent spinning that web of his. But feel free to get us back into the regular issues here with issue 133. And shocker in this one as well, dude, in 133 for me.
Yeah, so this is really what it is here. We flip flop between the Armageddon game and the regular series because they run side by side. So we get into TMNT number 133, where it starts off with Carmen, the newest student of Leonardo, has a nightmare about a gigantic shark creature coming out of the portal to destroy everything. In the cellar of the Foot headquarters, Venus is meanwhile hiding, and Bludgeon is the only one who knows about her. On TV, everyone is watching Baxter's speech as the fake turtles suddenly attack. In Mutant Town, some mutants think that these are the real turtles, and this leads to riots because they're like, oh my god, people already think that mutants could be a problem, and now these turtles that we thought were heroes attack him, and a lot of them don't realize that these are not our turtles. So it goes crazy in Mutant Town. At Harold's lab, Angel suddenly gets attacked by 5 mutants who shoot energy beams at her. And then we find out what these attackers are really looking for. They're looking for Sari, the Triceratron Regenta. So yeah, trouble from all sides.
And for me, this is the first time, again, you could probably correct me because I may be mistaken, but in my notes, I think this is the first time I've seen Angel go down. Usually she's the one kicking ass, so I was very shocked to see Angel struggling in a fight for once. So dangerous times are ahead, especially coming up in Armageddon number 2, where, once again, our friend Baxter, now he has honor. I gave them my word. What is this all about?
Oh, yeah, it's something. It seems like almost there's something wrong here. Well, in Armageddon game number 2, these fake turtles, they take Baxter hostage. But before the whole situation escalates, the turtles run off because, as you said, Baxter's like, hey, you can go, I promise, nothing, we won't come after you. O-Top, meanwhile, has escaped to North Brother Island, and he gets a visit there from Herman and Raphael, who are looking for him. So, back to Dimension X, the team goes to the Blastorama Pleasure Dome to look for the Nova Posse, because they were the Nova Squadron first, but now they're calling themselves the Nova Posse, and a way to reach Dimension C. And to their surprise, Princess Trip is also along. She suddenly steps out and like, hey, I'm also here. Which, of course, is trouble. They talk, the team talks with a shady guy who knows someone who could help them, but he suddenly runs off and gives them a little fuzzy creature. And it turns out that this guy is chased by none other than the Nova Posse, so it all comes together. After some confusion, the turtles talk with the Nova Posse and find out that the shady guy is Torben 6, a smuggler, and the Nova Posse has the mission to catch him. And then their transport to Dimension C arrives, a flying cowhead named Cuddly. So yes, the Easter eggs, the appearances from other characters, they don't stop, and I love it.
Seriously, I was like, Cuddly's here! I had that exclamation with a big happy smiley face. But, so, we've got regular issues, we've got Armageddon, and now we have an Alliance series coming up. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, Armageddon game, the Alliance, that was like another side story that's taking place next to the Armageddon game, where we see some other characters, what they are up to right now. So we have pretty much three books running side by side. And yeah, I was not kidding when I said that the Armageddon game is one big event story, because we have these 3 books. We have the regular TMNT, we have the Armageddon game, and we have the Armageddon game, the Alliance. And you really should check out all of these books to get the whole picture, because it's just such a huge storyline, but it all connects. So, yeah, this pretty much takes us to the Armageddon game, the Alliance.
Whew. And now I'm enjoying this Casey Jones artwork, I must say, in these new next issues coming, especially issue 134. So feel free to keep breaking these down, my guy.
Yeah, the Armageddon game, the Alliance number 1. So it starts off with Karai, who has a nightmare where she gets visited by the ghost of Masato, who was Orokusaki's and Hamato Yoshi's teacher, who talks to her about her leadership of the Foot Clan. And after this, to clear her head, she goes for a nightly run. As she thinks about the future of the Foot Clan and herself, she suddenly gets attacked by these fake turtles, so they suddenly come in. And she realizes that they are not the real turtles and has little trouble fighting them because they are not ninja. As the police arrives, they run off. So this little fight is over. Karai realizes that to keep the Foot Clan safe and also to confront the evil doings of the Red King, she needs alliances. And so she gets Bebop Drugstudy to find the first target for this alliance, none other than Casey Jones.
Oof, and I'll have to just say it again because this might be the best Casey Jones artwork I've seen in the comics coming up in issue 134. I have excellent all over it. I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good. So, 134, TMNT. After the attack by the fake turtles, Mutant Town is in an uproar. Donatello finds Angel after the attack, when she was attacked, and she tells him about these weird mutants who actually turn out to be Utroms in disguise. So Jennica, meanwhile, saves Sheena from the mutant mob in Mutant Town, and Casey appears and helps her. Jennica brings Sheena and some other mutants to the church Laird so that they're safe. But one of these guys has red, glowing eyes, and something is just wrong with him.
Oh, and coming up next, you brought this to my attention last week. You said, Mike, you're not going to believe it, because even I didn't, of who's going to be coming in these comics in Book 17 and 18. Book 17, Armageddon 3, is the shocker. Now, I'll do one first, because I was incorrect. Last week I predicted it would be Kino. We did not see Kino. And when I first hear Dimension Z, I'm like, wait a minute, that could be Mr. Og, but I'm also incorrect. So I would have definitely struck out, because I would have never guessed a character. For those who are listening on Spotify and YouTube now, before Christian reveals it, I'll give you one hint. The character we're talking about starts with the letter G, and feel free to reveal who it is in this next one.
Yeah, I told you, these IDW comics, they really dig deep with these characters. So yeah, the Armageddon game, number 3. Raphael talks with Old Hob about the whole situation, and Old Hob agrees to help to work against Baxter, but he needs Man-Ray's help. So the fake turtles, meanwhile, attack TCRI and blow the building up. Leonardo and Saki inside Cuddly are on the way to Dimension C, and Mikey, the Neutrinos, and the Nova Bossy are chasing Torvin 6 in Dimension X. 6 explains that he was hired to steal the little creatures who turn out to be Gribbix, to save them from Stump and Sling, who wanted to use them for entertainment in their arena. And under these circumstances, they let 6 go, and Trip promises to give the Nova Posse the money they would lose now because they don't capture Torvin 6. So now this mission is over, and the Nova Posse agrees to come to Earth with them to help them against Krang. Talking about him, Barlow has finished his operation on Leatherhead, and Krang has now found a new body, and he took over Metalhead to become Metal Krang. And as to quote Casey from the 2012 series, now that's metal.
Dude, how can you not... you called it Gribbix. Of all characters, it's like, haven't we seen him? Nope, here comes, and it's a big old Gribbix too, and they talk just like he was in the cartoon about the food, all that stuff. So just, it's been a pleasure reading these. I know some people get burned out because it's a long series, and some say they like the early ones, but if you hang in there, there's still a lot you can appreciate. Coming up next, though, we got, I believe, number 135 with some more Mutanimal chat.
Yeah. Back to TMNT, number 135. Jennica tries to keep the chaos in Mutant Town under control, and she gets help from Alopex. So Donatello tries to... Yeah, I'm right. Donatello tries to get more control of his Gofu talisman and his Kuchikiri technique. And he realizes that he can use the mysterious crystal to create everything that he writes down and bring it into the real world. So a little bit like the magic crystal from the Mirage comics.
Yes.
The fake turtles, meanwhile, snuck into the town hall of Mutant Town to free Man Ray. Chenica and Alopex stop them, and as they try to run off, suddenly Raphael and Old Hop come in to confront them. Back to the turtles' lair, Sari gets attacked by the Utrom soldier in disguise, but he gets stopped and Don knocks down the robot body. But then the Utrom jumps out of the body and attacks Donatello. And yeah, that's the cliffhanger ending of that issue.
Like you said, it still revolves around the turtles. This is not, we talked about this earlier, this is not the Jenica show. You know, it may have led that way, but they needed to get her in there. They wanted the readers to get to know her a little bit, and why not? We've been, doing this for almost well over 100 issues. So coming up next, we have, it's alliance, but I'd even call it an unholy alliance with, Karai calling out Casey Jones here. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's also a good Casey story, I gotta say. It's the Armageddon game, the Alliance number 2, where Casey is alone in the city and he remembers his father, Arnold, aka Han, and suddenly he runs into the punk frogs. And the frogs see him and think that he wants to fight. But before anything can happen, the purple dragons appear and Casey teams up actually with the frogs against them. So after this little battle, Casey goes back to the second time around shop and is greeted by April's parents, who give him some new sports equipment and something to eat. So Casey realizes, no, he's not alone. He's got friends, he's got family. And Casey actually gives the food to the frogs and they leave on good terms. So they're cool now. The next night, Karai meets with Casey and she asks him to join her cause as an advisor. And Casey, he agrees to the alliance. So now Karai has a partner in this alliance. So yeah, that's the alliance number 2.
I'm still in shock here, man. It's one of those where you need to splash a cup of cold ice water. And I still cannot believe Karai and Casey after all they've been through. But we've still got some more alliance coverage coming up here.
Absolutely. The alliance number 3, where we see Angel at Harold's lab and she gets attacked by an Utrom assassin again. And she fights him off, but she doesn't know that the EPF is outside of the building. And fortunately, Alopex comes around and sees this and fights them. But then none other than Agent Ravenwood appears. Remember her from the last Bio and Rocksteady miniseries. She attacks Alopex, but Angel is able to stop her and the duo leaves. Later, as the two are on patrol, they are confronted by Karai as well. And Karai offers them an alliance as well. And Alopex, but Alopex doesn't want to be part of the Foot Clan anymore, and she even attacks Karai out of frustration. But Karai doesn't fight back, and Alopex realizes that she really wants her help to stop the Red King. So Alopex and Angel come to an agreement, and they agree on this alliance too. And yeah, so it's like Karai is like collecting new friends left and right. Good for her.
It's almost like she's putting together her own, maybe not Avengers, not the Guardians, maybe like, I guess I was thinking Thunderbolts because I just saw that last year, but they're not as ingenious, but you know what I mean? It's like, they're not the Avengers, but it's like their own little stable here, which I enjoy. So, yeah. Coming up next, I think did you also cover the Scars and Healing in it, right? I think it's included. I think we got that because I'm just looking at the IDW book 17. It says the Alliance number 3 and then Scars and Healing part 2, and then we get into Armageddon game number 4, right?
Okay. Could be that I didn't write it down. The next one on my list would be Armageddon game number 4.
Okay, they must have combined that.
No, did I miss something? Oh my God.
I think they must have combined it. That's all. Because I have that in my notes too. Is just that little piece there, but. For Armageddon number 4, we get one of my faves, Jaguar, and just another one that you would never see Shredder saying to the Turtles. But this is a war. We fight together.
Oh, yeah. This is really... You know how bad things are when Shredder is actually in the Turtle side.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Armageddon game number 4. Raphael and Hop, they confront the fake Turtles. Remember at the... at the Mutant Town City Hall. So during this fight, one of the fake turtles transforms partially into a human. Then they escape, but Sally and Ray realizes that these turtles are actually the Gang of Four that they fought before in the Universe series. In Dimension Z, Saki and Leonardo, they meet up with Cherube, and she wants to join their fight, but first she has to free her friends, the Four Winds, who are imprisoned by Noi Taidar, who is Null's cousin. As Cherube confronts Noi Taidar directly, Leonardo and Shredder sneak into Noi Taidar's palace. For this to work, Leonardo even conjures up his Dark Leo form, and they are able to free the Four Winds. Back on Earth, the Red King sends Metal Krang to Burno Island to prepare the Technodrome for his cause. And yeah, we all know this couldn't be good.
Yeah, especially with pretty much Godzilla and King Kong here, right, Christian? TMNT Talk and the battle of the two Krangs coming up next.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this leads into TMNT number 136, where we're back to Donatello. We're back at the Turtles' lair, where Donatello fights off the Utrom who attacked him, and with help from Jenica and Siri, he is killed. The Utrom is killed. Then other Utrom assassins appear and a big fight starts. As the team gets overwhelmed, Donatello activates his Kuchikiri, which leads to time to be frozen around him. So this is not actually what Donatello planned, but that's what happens. Suddenly, Donatello gets sucked into this anomaly and finds himself in front of a giant world-eating shark before he disappears again in a flash of light. It's all very mystical or very wild. And on Burno Island, Jarrell is now in charge, and he even uses the Triceratop bodies as new exo bodies for his Utrom, so very gruesome. Krang then arrives on Burno Island, but Jarrell doesn't care as he is now the leader. And so these two big bodies clash, the two Utroms clash in their exosuits. And so, yeah, like two alpha Utroms, they clash for leadership. And yeah, that's where issue number 136 ends.
Oof, and then we have, in the next issue, we're talking a little bit of Kirby, and it's not the Nintendo Kirby.
Yeah, this is now the Armageddon game, the Alliance number 4, where Donatello, after this little craziness that he went through, he reappears in some kind of wasteland desert in a tower in the future. He then sees his older self, who remembers his family and that they didn't take him serious when he warned them about Armagon. So Venus and Bludgeon also get sucked into some kind of portal into this future, and they meet some other mutants and humans in this world, including a future complete version of Venus herself, because remember, Venus is all like stitched up now. Suddenly, a giant portal in the sky opens up and a gigantic shark comes through. That's Armagon. The two versions of Venus connect, and through Q&A, which is like the mystical energy, like DNA, but mystical life energy that runs through everyone. But through this Q&A, through this connection between the two Venuses, Venus of the present gets her memories back and she becomes complete again. Armagon devours everything, but present time Donatello can activate his Gopher Crystal, and he, Venus, and Bludgeon get sent back to the present time. Venus and Bludgeon then leave the Foot to find a new home for themselves. Karai later meets up with them and asks them for help against the fake turtles, but Venus and Bludgeon actually decline. They want to find their own way, they don't want to be part of this war. And so, yeah, Karai accepts that, and yeah, that was the Armageddon game, the Alliance number 4, where a lot was going on.
Dude, they just keep going and going and going. This is the Energizer Bunny of comic books here. Just a quick little note here that I didn't botch, but just to give credit, I'm bragging about that Casey Jones. I believe the artist's name is Pharaoh P. or Pay. I apologize if I botched that, but Pharaoh Pay, kudos to you for that Casey Jones design. I love it. And I guess let's get back to the action here, dude. It just hasn't stopped.
Yeah, I can only agree. Pharaoh Bay is also one of my current favorite artists on the TMNT book. He's great. So yeah, let's go to the Armageddon game number 5, where the big fight, Krang and Jor-El, they fight, and Krang wants to restart the plan for terraforming Earth, which is also what the Red King wants, because destruction, chaos, that's what the Red King lives for. But Krang gets shot by one of Jor-El's men, Cleve. Back to Dimension Z, Shredder and Dark Leonardo are fighting Noi Tai-Dar. They actually defeat and imprison him. In New York, Mikey and the Nova Posse arrive from Dimension X. But suddenly, Utrom spaceships attack the city, destroying a helicopter with Vernon on the helicopter, who is reporting there. Which I thought was actually pretty funny, because it's the first appearance of Vernon. In the next panel, he gets destroyed. So, and one of these Utrom ships seemingly destroys the Turtles' church lair. And oh my god! So that's once again the big cliffhanger there.
Oh, and now we've got, I don't know how many times I have in my notes, big brawl, big brawl, big brawl. If you're looking for action, apparently these writers heard you, because here comes another big brawl.
It's just one thing to another. Yeah. So, TMNT number 137. So, Donatello is back in the lair as the church lair gets attacked. The team gets to the top and see the Utrom attack. And the Utroms, they came for Sari. So, big battle starts with the Utroms inside the Triceratron exobodies, and Sari even realizes that the body that Jor-El is using is that of her mother, Zom. I can only say again, that's gruesome. Together with Mikey and the Nova Posse, they fight alongside Sari, and they are able to fight off the attack for now. But it turns out that Jor-El wasn't really there. He was remote controlling the body. So Sari now wants to take the fight to Burno Island, and she flies off with the Nova Posse to finish this fight with Jor-El once and for all.
Oof. And it looks like in the next issue here, I must have used the time stone, Christian, because remember earlier I was talking, where is April? Well, she's finally going to get the spotlight here.
Yeah, exactly. With the Armageddon game, the Alliance number 5, where April is investigating the fake turtles herself and realizes that Null has something to do with it. So she sneaks into the Null building to get more information about this. But Null, Sodi, and Krisa find out that she is there and chase her through the building. April gets inside a computer room and sends a message with all the information she has to her friends. April then escapes to the rooftop where Madame Null awaits her. But April is a smart one, and she tricks Null and is able to escape. Sometime later, April, Casey, Kara, Sergeant Kara, and Sergeant Winter, who has suspicion about Baxter, even though he was working for him, is like, Baxter is not telling the truth. He finally realized it. And meet up with Karai. So this whole team meets up with Karai. And with a $1 bill, April hires Karai and the Foot Clan, and they agree to work together to stop Madame Null's plans. So this whole team is now together to stop Madame Null and her fake turtles once and for all.
Christian, you're a very smart man. You're a family man. You're a responsible father. Would you hire the Foot Clan for $1?
Hey, it's a good deal, I gotta say. So, yeah. I mean, I love the scene. It was really cool. Like, hey, give me $1. What for? Just give me $1. So now you hired the Foot Clan, and we work together. So, yeah, you know how they say, the enemy of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, yeah. I guess it's the lesser of two evils when you have the Red King on the other side.
Yeah, and I don't even think April knows that Karai's talked to Casey Jones too much yet either, so that's a good dollar investment there. Also, I did enjoy in the Alliance 4 finding that Kirby note with the bittersweet spot with the note there. I thought that was just really cool. Again, paying homage to our boy Kirby and all that good stuff he had. We love that 2003 episode he was in. Big impact on the comics, and it's kudos to Jack Kirby for those who are unaware. But it is now time for the end of book 17, and we're still not going to be done with the Armageddon games, but we do get a nice cliffhanger.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Armageddon game number 6. Jarrell gets rid of Krang's body on a dump on Burner Island. So, yeah, Krang is out of the picture. In New York, the EPF is fighting off the Utrom invasion. And Hop, meanwhile, gets ready for his part to blow up the wall surrounding Mutant Town. The real turtles, meanwhile, get into another fight with the fake turtles, but this time they have the citizens of Mutant Town on their side because they realize, like, okay, these are not the real turtles. And then Cuddly appears, and Shredder, Leo, and Cherubi enter the battlefield. Sari and the Nova Bossy, meanwhile, arrive on Burner Island and fight against the Utroms there. But suddenly, meanwhile, Krang's exo body reboots himself and revives Krang. So Krang is alive again and very angry, and yeah, it's like you can't keep the guy down. It's like the third time that we thought that he was gone, but no, Krang comes back.
Oh, so as we have some final thoughts for this book, it went by really quick in my opinion. There was a lot of build-up. What were your final thoughts on book 17? Plus, it was cool. We got to see A-Stuck again in the first part of Armageddon game number 1. I really enjoy Baxter's, still getting more character development. What are your final thoughts here? Baxter, for me, is the MVP in this book as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's overall really, the Armageddon game is really such a big thing. There's so many battles on so many planes of reality, like on Earth, Dimension X, Dimension Z. It's everywhere, craziness going on, and just all these characters they brought in. I mean, who would have thought that we would see Torben 6 again? I love it. And stuff like this. It really feels like this gigantic, like the gigantic battle for destiny of the world. Like they have to get all these characters together to fight off the Red King to stop him from like destroying everything. So yeah, there's just a lot going on, and you really get the feeling like this is the big one. This is like now the big fight. Like when you get to the end of a series, like okay, now we get all these characters together to bring it to one big finish, and you really get the feeling, okay, they're really doing this. They're gonna, we have so many storylines, and they're gonna finish most of them. And yeah, it's just, I'm so hyped. I was so hyped for this whole thing, and in my opinion, it really delivered.
And one final question for you, Christian, and since you're, like I say, the big comic guy here, which I really appreciate because you've helped get me, amped up for these as well. They put their own, pretty much their own spin. This is pretty much, I'm sure you would agree, this is this version's comic of the, City at War, so to speak, but they wanted to expand it in their own way. Now, do you like the name Armageddon game instead of saying World at War? I just like how they pretty much took the old stuff and went with it their own way, because, it's like, I'm not a big fan of just reincarnating the same thing with a different origin story. I like when something like this happens and they put their own spin on it. So, were you a fan of this? How, it was pretty much a City at War, but their version of it?
Gotta say, it felt bigger than City at War, because City at War was mostly the story about like this gang war, so all these fractions fighting for dominance of the city. But the Armageddon game, it just feels so much bigger, like as I said, spanning over different dimensions, and really for the fate of the world. So it feels even much bigger, and Armageddon game really sounds like something very big and something very serious. So yeah, I'm totally there for it.
Yeah, especially, it's like, how can we get everybody involved? Like you say, not just gangs, not just, the purple dragons and the foot. We're talking everybody, different dimensions, and we're still finding ways to get new characters in here. And how about, like you said, Armageddon? That was the other shocker. Let's talk about that really quick. Again, this was somebody that came from Tournament Fighters, the video game, right? And now he's appeared in cartoons, the Archie series, and now IDW.
Yeah, and a really very different way. Like we remember from the Archie comics, his first appearance, he was this mutant shark, but here he's very mysterious. He's like this gigantic creature lurking in the background, and it's like it feels like this. Pretty much like Galactus from the Marvel universe, like this world-devouring giant beast, and it's you really get it. It's out there. It's somewhere there, and it's gonna be a problem later on. So I really like how they're building up this. Like, okay, there's even more. It gets bigger and bigger, and I was really into the mystery of this whole thing to find out more about Armagon.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Thanos, like just, or a Galactus, like the Eater of Worlds, kind of, so to speak, just like, pure chaos everywhere. So, come up next, though, guys. This is it. This is book 18, and we appreciate you sticking around this long because we've got another 22, I believe, issues in here total. So, we've got a different set of tone. We've got more madness coming up. And again, where else are we going to have it, dude? We're starting with a big brawl right off the bat. Just walk on in and whoa, Jesus! It's like you're walking into a fight. There's no appetizer there. We're just giving you the whole enchilada right now.
Yeah, there's no stopping now. We're really going straight into the action with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 138. Where the fights in New York are still going on with the Turtles and friends, Utroms and the EPF. And on Burno Island, the fight against Jarell is going on. But here, Sari is the one who finally kills Jarell by slamming a metal horn into his eye. Like, okay, sorry, but he deserved it. Through a hologram, Sari shows the Utroms in New York that the leader is dead and the Utroms, they surrender. Man Ray, meanwhile, places bombs around the wall around Mutant Town. But before he can detonate them, the Weasel Kids attack Man Ray and slit his throat because he was the one who captured them and they think that he's evil, he's bad. But then the bombs explode, ripping a giant hole into the wall of Mutant Town. Hop arrives and doesn't find Ray or the kids, and he's devastated. Then the team splits up to finally put an end to the evil doings of Red King's team. Meanwhile, Alopex finds the Weasels under rubble and she promised to take care of them. So, that's once again a lot going on.
And another clan too. Now Alopex is trying to be in charge of some stuff. Why not? She's been, Can you really blame her? I guess let's talk about Alopex real quick because she's had a huge role in this story for me. She's been put under spells. She's been having almost a difficult time as Jenica in regards to just trying to make friends and feeling a sense of belonging. Jenica tried to get with the Foot, then she became a turtle, and she finally got her boo where she can at least have someone she can feel vulnerable and safe with. But Alopex, she's been all over the place, man. Do you think this is the right move by her adopting these weasels and trying to be the big mama?
Yeah, it's like she wants to find a place for herself because it's like she thought that she found a place with the Turtles, especially with Raphael, but she felt like they betrayed them. They all betrayed them because they teamed up with Shredder, who was like the big evil for her. He was like the big boogeyman for all her life, and her family teamed up with him, and it's like she broke off with them, and so she now tries to find a new way for herself, a new family, and so now she finds the Weasels. Like, okay, I can take care of you. I can be there for you, and I will never abandon you. So it's like, okay, I'm trying to find my own way. If the other family isn't it, I'm gonna find my own way, and so she tries now this way for herself.
Yep, I agree. We'll see what happens with it. Come up next, though. Now we've still got more of this alliance, but we've got a showdown with Karai and Baxter. Ooh la la! Is all I can say about that one.
Oh boy, yeah. So the Armageddon game, the Alliance number 6, the final issue of that book. So the team around Karai lures the fake turtles into an alley. And as they arrive to take Karai out, they get surrounded by Bebop, Rocksteady, Sergeant Winter, Casey, Alopex, Angel, and Koya. They're all there. But actually, Karai says that she will fight the four alone, which they do. And Karai defeats them in combat and destroys the mutagen supply, which turns them back into humans. April taped this whole situation, and the four get arrested, so they are out of the picture. Then Karai meets with Baxter and Null, and she blackmails Baxter with the tape of the Gang of Four. And she says that she will release this unless he does what she wants. So now Karai has Baxter in the palm of her hand. So yeah, smart move.
Oh, indeed. And here we go. This is one that we've all been waiting for. We get to see our buddies Trag and Granitor come back. I love when the Turtles are going to chase the Technodrome. To me, it's just like the theme song opener where they're all ready and Michelangelo swings his nunchucks. They're all ready to jump into battle. And I'll give you this quote here. I do love reading these quotes when I see one that just really stands out. Yours hurts, mine kills.
Yeah, so Armageddon game number 7. As you said, on Burner Island, Krang frees Trag and Granitor because they are still loyal to Krang. In New York, Null wants to leave the city. She's like, okay, this is over. But she gets captured after a fight with Krissa and Sodi, where Leonardo actually cuts off Sodi's tail, and Krissa grabs Null because she doesn't want to be her slave anymore. So, Donatello and Michelangelo, they arrive on Burner Island and realize that Krang is starting to reactivate the Technodrome to finally destroy the Earth. And after another fight, the neutrinos teleport in, and King Center, the king and leader of the neutrinos, shoots Krang and kills him for good. Really, now he's really down. Meanwhile, Saki arrives at Kitsune's resting place between the dimension, and she awakens and tells Saki to call the Turtles for the final confrontation with the Red King.
Oof, dude, were you happy Krang's finally gone since it's coming to an end here? They had to have somebody die off.
Yeah, as I said, it feels really like this big finale, and so it was time. Like, how many times can Krang cheat deaths? Like, okay, so now he's really down. It was his time. It was time to finish off Krang for good. So yeah, I was fine. I mean, it really feels like, okay, nobody is safe, even the big ones. So yeah, everything can happen now.
Oh, yeah. And then we've got one more just to butter us up a little bit before we get into Armageddon number 8. We got issue 139.
Yeah, so this is like, as you said, like the prologue to the big finale. TMNT number 193, the 5 turtles, they arrive in the thin place. And there they need to learn the final technique of Kuchikuri to fight off the Red King. Kitsune tells them that they have to work together and their spirits are always connected, and with this, they can defeat the Red King. So all 5 turtles see the past, present, and future, and how it's all connected while meditating together. And then, at the end of this issue, the Red King rips into this reality to confront his enemies once and for all.
And it's coming in Armageddon 8. Therapists and whatnot, they always say there's trigger words. But then there's words where you see and it just makes you happy. And when I read Turnstone in this book you're about to cover, that made me a happy guy.
Oh, I'm totally with you there. So yeah, this is the big one. The Armageddon game number 8. Krang is dead. Null is captured by the EPF. Only Baxter remains, and our friends have him pretty much under control. And they demand from Baxter that Mutant Town becomes an official borough of New York, and Baxter should work together with Sally and Sari to better the relationship between humans and mutants. Back to the thin place, a giant Red King confronts the Turtles, Shredder and Kitsune. The Turtles fight well, but the demigod is just too much. Then the rest of the Pantheon appears and attacks their brother as well, and he takes them out one by one. So the Turtles use the final technique to summon Cherubae and her turnstone to this place. And Kitsune is able to use the turnstone before she gets destroyed as well. The turnstone summons none other than Chi-Yu from outer space, and he crashes into this world and onto Red King with a gigantic explosion, which finally destroys the whole Pantheon for good. After this battle, Saki leaves with Cuddly and Cherubae for Dimension C. Karai takes most of her team and Casey with her. Hop leaves for his island, which he now calls Mutant Island. And on Burno Island, Krang will be given a proper funeral. And as the Utroms leave, Metalhead reactivates himself. So we get a big finale, but also something like a little cliffhanger, like, okay, it's not all over yet. So, woo! The Armageddon game, that was that was a big one.
It was a very thick read. Is there anything... For me, I had fun reading that. I liked the build-up because, again, they knew it was going to be crazy, so you had to make some unholy alliances. Karai was reaching out to other people. I also liked, there was a mission here, I believe, too, where she was like, I don't want Bebop and Rocksteady getting caught, when they were seeking out stuff, which I liked, because she's like, I know how to use them, so she's learned. She's not dim-witted. Any final thoughts here with the Armageddon series as a whole? Was there anything you would have changed? Was it too long? Was it too short? Anything that you would have liked to see happen?
Can't think of anything right now. As I said, the Armageddon game, it really felt like this big event, which we didn't have yet in these comics, because, we got big stories, but like this with 3 interconnecting comic books running side by side, it really felt like really a big story, bringing all these characters together for one big fight finale. And for me, I understand when people say, like, do I really have to read all these books? It's a lot, but there's also a lot of story and a lot of characters. So for me, in my opinion, it really deserves the comics that we get. And so this really felt like a big finale of a lot of storylines, and I was really happy with it and really enjoyed it.
Same here, because we talked earlier with my whole thoughts is this change in the IDW series where it was going too fast and I couldn't keep up with anybody. It seems to me like they slowed it down a little bit, took their time, getting all the build up, and they played around too. It wasn't, you had regular issues, Alliance, and Armageddon game. You had 3 different things, almost like those MCU movies, and then it finally culminated into one big, humongous battle. So, where do they go from here? We're going to tell you guys. To me, I talked to Christian on the side. Issue 140 is going to break down for us. There's somebody who, if you were playing Monopoly, rolled doubles 3 times, if you get my drift. And it feels like we had Red Sky vibes here. I feel like this Armageddon was kind of like, even though it's still IDW Volume 1, I believe most fans call it, as I'm still new to getting my own Shellonomics here with what they call these terms here. But the way I'm viewing this is a whole new beginning. They're trying to change it up again. You'll see different artwork. And like I say, it just gave me Red Sky vibes here. But feel free to break down number 140.
I will, but first, I guess we gotta talk about the TMNT Annual 2023.
Yes, we
do. A little issue between here.
Yes.
So, and it's like a little look out for things to come. So, this annual, it starts with an old turtle from the future with one eye falling through time and space. And he gets attacked by a giant shark, which we now know is Armagon, and the turtle loses an arm. And suddenly this turtle arrives in present time and he goes to the turtle's lair. First, the present time turtles, they are shocked by this turtle from the future, but then they help him with his wounds. Donatello even gives him a robotic arm, and it turns out that he is Raphael from a future. And suddenly this future Raphael attacks Donatello because it turns out that he actually wants to kill Donnie, because in the future he will build a device that will destroy the universe. The Turtles can convince future Raphael that this is not the right way, and he remembers what Splinter taught them. So future Raphael now let go of Donatello, and he leaves them. Sometime later, future Raphael lives alone in the wilderness in the present time, and suddenly he gets attacked by a squadron of ninjas who overwhelm him. And so, what happens to this future Raphael? Hopefully we will find out in the future.
Especially for the future. Yes, dude. Future Raphael. Do you like Future Raph? A little different, right? Usually you think future, it's always Donatello. So I was enjoying the little Raphael, little twist there.
Yeah, it's, I gotta say, I like his design. He really looks like he went through a lot. And I mean, he's missing one eye, so future Raphael always has to miss one eye. It's the law. So, it was really interesting. And as I said, you see, he really went through a lot. And I wonder when we will see him again, because now he's pretty much stuck in the present time. What will happen to him? What was it about these ninjas at the end? Who knows? Hopefully we will find out sometime later.
Oh, yeah, and hopefully not too long, because after you get your sip of water to hydrate, feel free to get us into 140.
So yeah, we're getting back into the regular TMT series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 140. So, it's been a month since the Armageddon game, and mutants and humans now interact freely because the wall was blown up, so they can mutants now can walk freely among humans, and that's totally cool. The Turtles argue now about what to do next. They don't feel like they are needed as guardians of the city anymore, and Mikey is very happy with the situation as he can walk around freely. And Alopex is now taking care of the weasels in town. Leonardo, meanwhile, runs into a mandrill mutant who he saves from some muggers, and the mutant name is Bob. So remember, future Lita told Leonardo that he has to look out for Carmen and Bob. So now we know who he is. Meanwhile, in the city, mutants are getting killed, and it looks like there's a serial killer around. The Turtles argue about what to do with this information, and as Raphael storms off, he finds the body of another mutant in an alley. Then the police, who is Monty Moose, sees him and arrests him under suspicion of murder. So, yeah, another thing going for Raphael.
Wow. Can you believe that Raphael finally got... I mean, if you were to pick a turtle who got thrown in jail, it probably would be Raph anyways. But again, they're trying to go a different direction. They're trying to keep us engaged. So, final thoughts on this issue right here with Raphael going in jail? Were you shocked? I was.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, you didn't know what to expect next after the craziness that was the Armageddon game. So like, bring it down a little bit, make it more street level with street level crime, and so yeah. But I definitely did not expect the end of that issue. Like, okay, so the Turtles gonna investigate the murder, and Raphael gets arrested. Nope, did not see that one coming.
Not at all, my friend. Well, feel free to continue where Raph is in jail and someone's going to have to help get him out of there.
Yeah, issue number 141. At the police station, Raphael calls Janica and she bails Raph out. Raph and Janica then check out the alley where the body was found, and by accident they run into the weasels who are looking for food there. Then out of the shadows steps none other than Leatherhead, who has a red glowing skull sign in his stomach that somehow seems to control him. Leatherhead attacks them, and after a short fight, he grabs Mushroom, one of the weasels, and he runs off with her. Meanwhile, Venus has a vision of Leatherhead and sees the one who is controlling Leatherhead, and that's none other than Dr. Barlow. Yeah, that guy also pops up time after time.
Oh, he sure does. And meanwhile, coming up soon in issue 142 is Mikey's got his own little podcast here. This is the second time he's at his podcast. Now, I think actually may have more, but I'm thinking of the Next Mutation vibe. So they give Venus her, due diligence, and they're even giving Mikey. He used to have that radio show. We covered that in the earlier episode here on Shellonomics talking Next Mutation. So GG's for Mikey with his own show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like it that they take some parts from the next mutation, even for the IDW comics. Hey, more love for the next mutation. I'm all there for it.
Yeah, it exists.
So, yeah, you gotta accept it. It's part of the multiverse. So, TMT number 142. In the Turtles' lair, Donatello has locked himself into his laboratory to find out more about the future and the giant shark creature that he saw and how to stop all this. And this leads to a fight between the brothers because, like, hey, Donnie, we need your help. No, I've got no time. I've got my other problems. So, yeah. In his new laboratory, Barlow is experimenting with the dragon scales, which he also uses to control Leatherhead. And his newest experiment is Mushroom. So Alopex is looking for the little weasel in the sewers, and she suddenly runs into a Frankenstein creature fusion of Groundchuck and Dirtbag. And Leatherhead then also appears and can regain control of himself to help Alopex and the two weasels to escape. Leonardo with Bob and Carmen is then able to team up with Donatello finally, Venus, Koya and Bludgeon, and together they go to stop Barlow to find him. So now that they know who is behind all this craziness.
Oof, dude, yeah, just feel free to break us into the next one. It just keeps getting wilder and wilder. As like you said in our last episode last week, we're getting closer and closer to an epic issue 150.
Oh boy, yeah. So, 143. Raphael is taking care of Alopex after she was injured during the fight with the Groundchuck Dirtbag creature. The turtle team with friends then arrive near Barlow's new hideout, and suddenly they get attacked by nightmare visions caused by creatures created and controlled by Barlow. With Venus' help, the team can fight these off and they arrive at Barlow's place. As the team finds the Groundchuck Dirtbag creature, and I still don't know what to call it, Groundbag, Dirtchuck, whatever.
I just put creepy. I didn't know what else to call it either, so I have that note too.
That works too, I guess. So, and other mutant creatures that Barlow created, and Barlow tries to escape. Leonardo is able to kill the Frankenstein creature, and Venus follows Barlow, but realizes that he implanted a dragon scale onto himself, and with this power, he confronts her, which leads straight into TMT number 144, where Leatherhead regains his senses long enough to rip the scale from his body and he becomes normal again. Barlow's scale energy, meanwhile, goes out of control and turns him into a weird mutation mix of like a rat and a spider. It's crazy. Together with Mushroom, who has a scale of herself, Venus can use the magic energy to blast Barlow with it, destroys his scale, and turns him into a big mouse. And for someone who worked all his life to regain his own humanity, this is pretty much worse than death for him. Leonardo realizes that everyone now must, after all this craziness, Leo realizes that everyone must find his own way. Leo wants to go to Northampton for a while, and Donatello also thinks that he can find out more about the mystic stuff there. Chenica and Michelangelo, they want to stay in New York. Raphael wants to go on a trip across the country. Alopex also leaves the city with the Weasels on a train towards Alaska. Now, Donatello gets ready to stop Armagon and the horrible future from happening. So yeah, we get this little split up of the team here. And which leads us into, you can say the final story arc of this book.
Yeah, it gives me vibes. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I was a big fan of the Muppets, and it reminded me of the Muppets Take Manhattan, where they all go on their separate ways. You hear that sad song. It's like, well, time for us to break out on our own. And also remember the cartoon episode? It's one of my favorites from the OG show. Thanks again to David Wise. Splinter Vanishes, where they all go their separate ways. I always like that one too. So, oh man, it's the awesome foursome is going their separate ways, and I'm a little bit shocked that Raphael's not taking it as hard, because remember, in the beginning of this book, he was lost. He didn't know where his brothers were. They didn't even know. Splinter believed he was alive, and they finally found him. So I thought Raph would be a little bit more heartbroken about this, but they got to do what they got to do, right? So coming up, though, I believe it's someone called the Mandrill in this one, right, in 145?
Bob is a mandrill.
Yes.
Yeah. And 45. So Donatello, April, Leonardo, Bob, Carmen, and the Lita, they arrive in Northampton. Donatello starts his work to open a wormhole into the future to consult his future self on how to stop Armagon. Then a future version of Bob suddenly appears and he tells Bob that someone can undo his mutation, but for this they must stop Donatello. Don comes in just as the duo starts destroying his machines. Future Bob fights him and throws Donatello, present time Bob, and Venus through a wormhole, and the trio lands millions of years in the past. There, they get attacked by a megalodon shark, who also gets sucked through a portal with them. They land at the end of time and see that the megalodon has transformed and mutated into a new form, Armagon. And then Donatello realizes that he is now actually the one who created this creature. So it's like this time loop. Donatello wanted to stop Armagon, but because he tried to stop Armagon, he created Armagon. And this, I love a good time travel story, but it still breaks my brain.
Oh, there's going to be some big time traveling coming up real soon, especially when you have one of our old friends coming in issue number 146.
Yeah, in present time, the others don't realize that future Bob is not present time Bob, and they work together to get the others back again, because as they were sucked into this wormhole. But future Bob is draining Q&A to feed to his master, who is Armagon. Donatello and company travel through another time hole and land in a wasteland. This is the future, and they meet an elder Leonardo there. They also meet other elder versions of the friends and family. And so Donatello wants to take this opportunity to meet his elder self. But when they arrive at his place, they see that Armagon has already arrived there too, to eat all of reality. Because it's the same situation as the time before when Donatello was in the future in the during the Armageddon game. So suddenly, as Armagon is like eating this reality, suddenly another portal opens up and the team is saved by Renette, Big Lita, and an elder Raphael. So, what's going on now?
Especially when we've got this, this mutant city. I mean, this is where we are pretty much. Again, it's we've talked about it before too. You like this mutant city kind of vibe, right? Because again, it reminds you. Well, at least for me, it reminds me of the new way the Turtles are going, which is mutants all over the place.
Yeah, I think that it's, as I said, an interesting new take, because most of the time it's like the Turtles, they are the outsiders because there are no mutants around, and when they're mutants are like, they become like normal, it's a whole new world for the Turtles to explore. And so I'm always interested what they do with this. So yeah, it's an interesting take.
Yeah. We've got a couple more. Feel free to pop in the next one.
Alrighty, TMT number 147. In the present time, the team fights off weird creatures that were created by the energy from the portal. And April, she tries really her best to get behind the portal to bring back Dawn and the others. Donatello and the others, meanwhile, have arrived at the base of the Time Lords in the 7/9 dimension of Null Time with Renette. Elder Raphael has dementia because of all the time travel shenanigans. And as Renette and Lita talk about what they should do next, once again, Armagon arrives. And it turns out that he's actually following a beacon signal that Bob got from his future self. Big Lita is able to send Donatello and the others through another portal, just as Armagon devours the Time Temple. The team then finds themselves in another future in Mutant City and are greeted by Jenica, who is now half cyborg, which pretty much leads straight into TMT number 148. Back to the present time, after some crazy time stuff happening, April and Leonardo realize that this future Bob who is manipulating them. And he manifests. So Future Bob manifests more time monsters, but suddenly Mikey and Koya appear to help them in their fight. Back to the future, Bob realized what he did and he destroys the beacon signal so that Armagon cannot follow them. Jennica in the future tells them that another elder version of Donatello appeared some time ago. And before they can investigate this more, the police arrives at Jenica's place and the team has to flee. Donatello and Venus can use the rest of the beacon from Bob to get a connection to Armagon. And through this mental connection, Donatello finally realizes what Armagon really wants. He wants to find a way to get back to feudal Japan to destroy the turtles and everything else before their reincarnation so that nothing of this will ever happen. It's like he wants to destroy everything and stop like himself from becoming real. And so like when the turtles would not be reincarnated in the present time, none of this would ever happen. And that's pretty much what Armagon wants, which once again is a pretty crazy twist.
Yeah, it's almost like the Magneto in X-Men. Is Magneto right? Is Armagon right? Because he's got that Thanos Galactus vibe, especially when you get to 149. He is huge. I mean, he is huge in that issue you're going to break down next. So, but real quick, what are your thoughts on Armagon here? Is he right? Is he wrong? I mean, me and you know we want the Turtles, so we're going to have to say he's wrong, being biased. But if you could play devil's advocate at all, can you? Is there any way you can, stand up for what he's trying to do here?
I mean, I always say that the some of the most interesting bad guys are always the one you like. He's evil. He's doing evil things, but I understand why he's doing this, and I understand why Armagon is doing this. It's like this. His whole life pretty much is torture. He's flying through time and space, and I mean, he's just an animal who goes on instinct, and he wants to stop this torture. So that's why he does all the things. And it's like, okay, I understand it. But on the other hand, I mean, he's destroying realities, killing like probably millions. And that cannot really be a good thing. But as I said, he's pretty much an animal who wants to stop this torture that he went through. And for this, I understand why he does it. I'm not saying it's good that he does it, but I understand why he does it.
Yep, you got that right. So, dude, we've got two more left. We've got another one with a little setup to the epic, crazy 50-page 150.
Oh, yeah. So, first off, TMT number 149. So, Future Bob is a servant of Armagon because he promised him that he will undo his mutation that he despises so much. He wants to be human again. And Future Bob then absorbs Lita's Q&A and he turns her back into a human. Then Future Bob escapes through a portal. In the future, the team finds another time portal that Future Donatello was using and they step through it. They land in another future and meet Michelangelo in his apartment, where he was like a movie star before, but now he's alone with all his family. Suddenly, another portal opens and Future Bob appears also at this apartment. Present time Bob confronts Future Bob about how he manipulated him and that he is nothing like him, he's not evil like him, he never wants to be like him. As Armagon once again appears, Future Bob throws Bob into the mouth of this beast, and this transforms him into the Future Bob version. Once again, fulfilling this cycle, how present time Bob became Future Bob, and once again, my mind is blown.
Oh, can you hang in there? I know you got the endurance. Can you hang in there? We still have a couple more to go. Dude, this 50-page, this is almost unheard of now in comics nowadays. Most comics are usually 20, 25, 26 pages. Here you get a huge, I mean, we're talking the biggest slice of pizza at all for issue 150. Congratulations to IDW for making it this far, dude. 150 coming at you.
It's insane. TMNT number 150. I'm not sure if ever a TMNT comic book will reach this number. So, this is the big one. Donatello and Venus, they chase Future Bob as Armagon starts destroying the city. They find Future Donatello and they follow him through another time portal. And suddenly they find themselves at Stockchen. When they were still little turtles before their mutation. They run into some foot ninjas and they see their own mutation on that night, like way back in the first few issues. But they don't interfere because this is how it all must go. Then, in an alley, they catch up with Future Donatello, who suddenly gets attacked by 3 grayish turtles. And it turns out that these are Donatello's children that he created with his magic crystal. They are called Roy, Max, and Briss. Future Donatello created them as a new family after the others left him. But he despises them now. And after a fight, he even erases one of them, Max. Future Don then leaves again, but present time Donatello is able to read the notes that he got from the future and sees that they are time coordinates. Using them, Donatello and Venus come to feudal Japan just after the execution by the Shredder, so when the whole Hamato family was killed. Donatello is able to extract some Q&A from their dead bodies and Venus encloses them in some kind of force field balls. But now it's time to stop Armagon once and for all, to stop all this craziness. With a mystical ritual, help from Venus, and the Gofu crystals that Donatello got from all the turtles and friends he met on his time travels, he gets ready for Armagon. But then Future Bob reappears and so does Armagon. Venus uses her magic to attack Armagon from the inside, but she sacrifices herself. Donatello, with the help from Donatello's children, is able to use a sigil to finally stop Armagon and he freezes like a statue in a permanent state. They leave Future Bob behind, now he is no danger anymore. Sometime later, in the present time, a portal opens at the farm and Donatello steps out of it, back from his time travels. Everyone is there at the farm. They greet Donatello, who pleads them for forgiveness after everything that happened. And the whole family embraces him and welcomes him back. In the past, at Stockchen, Venus' spirit appears and she uses the collected Q&A to transfer it into some turtle eggs and a rat inside the laboratory, which now closes the cycle for this reincarnation to happen. And then she goes to the afterlife where she is greeted by Hamato Yoshi and Tang Shen. And if this is not a wow ending, I'm not sure what is. Like this whole circle, starting with the first issue, it all connects, it all comes back to how the turtles were reincarnated. And wow, what a twist, what an ending. I was so happy with this. And we talked about this before. If the series would have ended at this time, with this issue, I would have been fine with it. I would have been happy with it. Whoa, what a book. What a book.
Yeah, it focuses on Donatello and Venus for the most part. You get, again, Kirby's ink pen was pretty cool. They're traveling all over the place. If you don't call this epic, I don't know what else you can call it. I mean, whether you enjoy it or not, it's jam-packed, and I would say anybody who reads this will get your money's worth for sure. But we're still not done, dude. We've got a little bit more before we bring this whole book in for a landing. I believe we have another 5-parter here. I mean, which is just almost like a nice little bonus. The Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan, to bring it home, a 5-parter.
Yeah, which is pretty much about Karai. And we see what Karai is up to. She is with her team, Casey, Natsu, Bebop, Rocksteady, Sodi, Krisa, and Clive the Punk Frog in Tokyo. And on a mission, the team run into the Dogstar clan, who are ninjas with armor which makes them super strong and super fast. And Karai gets beaten up by one of them and is almost killed. Toshiro, Karai's old master, has to use an old ritual to save her life, but for this, he dies. He gives his life energy to her. At the end of the issue, we see the leader of the Dogstar clan, Yoshi Chen. And after all this, he thinks that the Foot Clan is no threat for his clan. So yeah, that's the start of like another little mini-series here.
Woof, and just why not, right? I mean, it's cool. And also, guys, if you don't know, this is one of my favorite script writers here, Eric Burnham, who's our buddy from the Saturday Morning Adventures comics, which I hope to cover with you one day. But feel free to pop in number deuce.
Yeah, the Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan number 2. So, Karai, she wants to know more about this mysterious Dogstar clan. For this, she goes to a nightclub to meet another gang boss and get information from him. Meanwhile, there is a little fight between Sodi and Rocksteady because Sodi is not sure if Karai is strong enough to be the leader. As Karai comes home in the morning, she is greeted by the holographic protection of Yoshi Chen, who wants to talk, which leads straight into the issue number 3, where Karai is actually not interested in what Yoshi Chen has to offer. The Foot Clan is the better clan, but Yoshi tells her that the Dogstar clan is the real Foot Clan, and he tells her something that Karai didn't know before. Saki and Kitsune, we get a little flashback here. Saki and Kitsune, they had 4 sons. And after the death of Saki in feudal Japan, they fought over leadership of the Foot Clan. During this fight, 2 of the sons were killed, and the other 2 became leader and advisor of the Foot Clan. But the advisor fled to China with a copy of the Archie no Himitsu and built his own clan, which became the Dogstar clan. So in a way, Karai and Yoshi are both the leaders of the Foot. After this, Karai uses some magic to contact the afterlife, to contact Toshiro. She meets with him in the afterlife, and he tells her that Yoshi Chen was telling the truth. And he shows her a way to become a better user of magic. So, yeah, that was issue 2 and number 3. So, lot going on there.
Yeah, we're going to do one little quick plug for our good friend here, Christian, just in regards to the magic. If you guys are not following our buddy, he's going to plug his channel at the end. But, dude, I got to say, I checked out your Instagram story. If you guys are interested in magic, Christian has his own unboxing of the Ninja Turtles Magic the Gathering on his YouTube channel. And, dude, I'm telling you guys, you got to watch from start to finish because he's got some pretty cool pulls there. So just a quick little plug for our good friend here. I was waiting to get that in for the magic. But, yeah, my dude, we've got 2 more issues left to bring it home.
Alrighty, Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan number 4. So, after she gets left behind on a mission by Karai, Sodi is finally fed up with Karai's leadership and she leaves. Karai, Casey, Natsu, and Clyde went to the Mystic Cave where Karai found the Kira no Ken way back in the Universe series. So in this cave, each one of the team is confronted with visions that mock and attack them, like Casey gets attacked by Raphael and so on and so forth. Karai gets greeted by a big white dragon called the Wanderer. Karai says that she wants to know all mystical knowledge to fight her enemies. The Wanderer agrees to this, and he flies inside Karai. Now she knows all these mystical powers. She's got these mystical powers. She's got all the knowledge about magic that she wanted, and now she thinks that she is ready for the confrontation with the Dogstar clan.
Oof, and this is where I brought to. This is why I jumped ahead here with the smart being no Bebop, no Rocksteady here because they screw up a lot right before issue 5. So Karai's learned. it may have took her up to issue 150, but she's finally learned. So one last one.
Yeah, so Until Destiny of the Foot Clan number 5 finale. Sodi is captured by the Dogstar clan. Karai and her whole team, meanwhile, flies to an island where the Dogstar clan's hideout is. And she uses her magic to strengthen the weapons of her comrades, and together they attack the Dogstar clan. Here, including Bio and Rocksteady, because, when you've got a big fight to fight, Bio and Rocksteady, they are good to have by your side. A big battle starts. Karai confronts Yoshi Chen, and after she stabs him in the chest, she realizes that he is pretty much a cyborg. After the skirmish, Chen teleports away, but he promises that he will return. Karai actually is satisfied for now because she showed Yoshi-chan and the Dogstar clan that the Foot Clan is dangerous and not one to play with. Somewhere else, Yoshi-chan's body was upgraded by Dr. Chaplin and also Sodi was enhanced with cybernetic parts, ready for the war with the Foot Clan that will definitely come. And this nice little, looking forward ends not only this book, but book number 18. And that was pretty much the last book for now.
You know what I like about all this? I mean, you've been doing this podcast during the IDW run, and I highly doubt that it's this, but I just found it so awesome that what do I see in this final issue here, dude? Until next time, the way you always close out your podcast. So I'm like, is that a little tip of the cap to our Turtle podcasting friend here? I don't know. I'm going to say yes, but we have no confirmation on that. But I just thought that was very cool and a bittersweet ending to this humongous journey into this crazy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle verse. So, I'll give my final thoughts on this whole collection. So, as most people, this starts out with a huge bang. We have tons of notes, pretty much an entire notebook full of notes here. Starts with a whole new story, a whole new identity. They have bone-chilling endings issue to issue to keep you very highly engaged, which is hard to do. And it's a different time in comic books. When they first started comics here, their first issue way back when in 1984, I believe, was 40, maybe 50 pages. And they killed off their main enemy right away. Here, they learned, they took their time, they built a lot of great stories, fantastic writing with words that will stick with you forever. You have pretty much, like Christian says, the entire Ninja Turtleverse as a whole culminates into this. Whether you're a fan of the OG cartoon, the Archie comics, the video games with Armagon, Next Mutation, 2003, 2012 universe, you get pretty much everything in this entire series. You get a new Ninja Turtle. Now, that has been done with April and Venus, earlier, but that still was very new because this was more of a staple character, and it was a shocker. They didn't start as a turtle. You have humongous battles, shocking deaths. I mean, how can we continue to read these books? And these are collections too, not just one issue, but book 1, book 2, book 3. Shocking death, shocking death. Splinter is finally gone. This reincarnation thing, I'm not the biggest fan on that. But if you read everything, you have to have it there. We get the creation of Old Hob, who, if we are ever to do a top 10 villains, he's going to be on there. I really enjoy Hob. We've got a whole bunch of other new characters. You've got Karai stepping up. You've got my girl Angel, who is always going to be my girl. I just really love her. Her artwork is fantastic. There's some controversial stuff in these books, too, where some people aren't going to really lean this way. And the only thing I'll say on that is they don't force it down your throats, okay? If that, for some reason, is what triggers you and what pulls you away, I'm not dissuading anybody. I respect your opinions and everything. The only thing I'm going to say is it's not in every book. It's not the focal point, guys. It's just a nice story they wanted to plug in because they, like Christian said in the previous episode, what's wrong with falling in love? If that's the way they want to do it, let them do it their way. We could talk about this probably for another 2 hours, but I do want to say as a whole, I really think these books got the job done, giving a little treat to all Turtle fans. Neutrinos pop up. For the ending, again, when you get after issue 100, I know there's a big cutoff in fan base, and I hear you. Because in my notes, too, there's a lot of yelling. One thing I did want to point out and it's very challenging for writers when you have all these characters, because I am going to say I'm disappointed in one thing, Christian. I think you'll agree, but it's just hard to plug it in. We talked my girl Angel, right? Her and Woody, there's just one image, and that's it. You have all these relationships, you have all this talk, You have Jenica and Raph fighting, Raph and Case fighting Jenica, and there are a lot of yelling going on in these issues, and I would have just liked a little bit of Angel and Woody somewhere, please. Just, maybe it's in these other issues that I haven't covered yet, but that was just one little thing. But of course, when you have over 150 issues, it's hard to be flawless, okay? There's going to be things that you're not going to like as a fan. We get that. We understand that. As a whole, I really encourage you guys to check these out, though. I mean, there's some epic battles, there's some bone-chilling stories, and as a whole, I give it, if we're grading this on 5 stars, I give it a 3.5 to a 4. It's not the perfect book for me, but it does have so much good stuff in here. Christian, we got to hear your thoughts, because like I always say, you're my comic dude. You're the one who reads all these, and you've always been amped up for all this, so final thoughts on this as a whole. I mean, way over 150 issues if you count all those extra, issues as well. So feel free to share your final thoughts here.
Yeah, man. I can agree with you. I can only agree with you. Like, there's so much going on in this series, and it just keeps you reading. You're always like on the edge of the seat, like, okay, I have to find out what's happening next. Like always this cliffhanger. I was like, I need the next book. And and it's such how they created this world. As I said, it's like, it feels like the ultimate universe, because it brings all these different versions of turtles together and makes its own thing. But it's not like just throwing stuff like, okay, you want the punk frogs, here you have the punk frogs, you want Leatherhead, you have Leatherhead. No, they take their time, and it takes 100 issues, but then it's like, okay, now is the right time to bring in Leatherhead, to bring in punk frogs, to bring in the Gribbix. And it really feels like this is like, when someone comes up to me and asks me, okay, I wanna get into TMNT comics, which ones should I start? And like, take the first book. If you're into it, keep on reading, because I think this is like, it's the most modern version of the Turtles. Like, as much as I love Mirage comics, Archie comics, all of them, no doubt about it. But it looks back at the last 40 years of Turtles, and takes parts from every universe to create its own universe. But you don't have to know what happened before. You don't have to know about Mirage comics and all the other stuff. If you do, you get all these Easter eggs and all these callbacks and all these characters that they brought back. But if you don't, you still have a big story with big characters. I mean, look at this. We are 150 issues later. It's a gigantic universe with a lot of characters. But all these characters deserve to be there. They're all characters. They're not like paper cutout characters that's like running around in the background. Like, okay, we need now, I don't know, Leatherhead to jump in and fight, and now he's gone. No, Leatherhead really has a big storyline going for him, and he goes through a lot, and you hate him, you feel sorry for him, and you go through all these emotions, and you really play with these emotions. And when there's like a big death, like when Slash died, it really broke my heart. I really felt sorry for the guy. And it's just so much. It's really so big. And I can only say good things about the IDW comics. And in my opinion, they're still going strong, because their comics are still going on. And I wait for each new issue every month, because they're still doing it. They're still like, okay, I have to find out what happens next. They're like, oh, once again, a cliffhanger ending. I need more information. I want to know where the story goes. And yeah, they're like, keep going. And I hope they still keep going for a long time.
Final question on this, and then we're going to get to our rankings. One character, who's your favorite? Me, Michelangelo. I love how he has the showdowns with Splinter. He has his emotion. They did Mikey so right, and even near the end, he gets his own podcast show. Just kudos to Mikey, top character of them all. Got one.
Whoa.
I guess they'll say there's a gun to your head. You've got a retro mutagen ray gun pointed at you. One character. Who comes to mind first?
The funny thing, the first character that would come to my mind is actually the Red King, because I was always a fan of the Red King, and in this version, he's like, so when he just appeared out of nowhere, and he's like this mystical creature, and you don't know what is it, what does he, and we find out that he's like this demigod, and he's like this trickster, and pretty much like I said before, like the Joker of the IDW TMNT universe. I mean, if you would give the Joker godlike powers, he would pretty much be the Red King, because the Red King is like there, I just want to have fun. I just want to create chaos. And I love this version of the Red King. I love his design. I love his, what he does, that he's pretty much evil just for evil's sake, because he enjoys it. He enjoys people suffering. He enjoys the chaos. And that's what makes him so, for me, so interesting, so fascinating. So, yeah, it's kind of weird, but the Red King is the first one that comes to my mind.
I appreciate that. I know you're like, Mike, please stop doing that to me, because I'm going to, if you give me goat, I'm going to say I like Gold Hob best, I like Karai. I mean, I can give you a reason why you like everybody. So thank you for that. All right, so thanks to our good friend Christian, guys, we have broken down 7 series of Turtles here, and we're going to do a quick little ranking list. This has been our tradition when we celebrate completions. So this is from 1984 to IDW's Volume 1 complete. So I'm going to do my 7. I always like saving yours for the end, just because you are just more, I don't want to say knowledgeable, just you're a much more, I don't even want to say Patrick. I always like hearing you talk more than me. So even though this is the Shellonomics show. So coming in at 7, I'm going to go with, again, even like you, it's like, I guess I could steal your line a little bit. Like if you ask me on a different day, it may change, but at least as effective of April 2nd, 2026, we're going to go with Image Comics at number 7. Some great shockers. They mentioned Chicago, but again, we're just comparing these as a whole for all 7. That's at the bottom for me, and it's not even the bottom, but again, just with our ranking list. Number 6, we're going to go with Peter Laird's version here, just black and white, cool. Smaller, a bigger, I want to say, pace. It was not as intense. I enjoyed it. Just sadly, we didn't get a finish. If we got a finish, maybe this would have climbed up the rankings for me, but that is where that one sits. All right, this is where it's going to start getting a little tricky now, because we're coming down to the top 5, and it's like, where are these going to go? And I have to go with, oh man, this is tough, but I'm looking at the list I had written down, and after you talked me into it, I'm going to bump one up a little. I'm going to go with 2, Mirage Volume 2 at number 5. Short, sweet, another great one just because of Baxter Stockman in there. Just, you get the red bandanas, but that's going to be number 5. All right, number 4. This is going to have to be the original Mirage Volume 1. And the only reason for that is because just Shredder only, again, the way they wrote that was they weren't expecting it to be a long-going series, and it kind of sucks Shredder's only in one issue, but the tone of this is just so gritty, so amazing, but it's number 4. Number 3 is what we just covered, my dude, IDW, and I just love Shredder here. I mean, he becomes a good guy at the end. There's so many crazy twists, crazy plots. There's no argument if anybody has this at number 1. And while we're doing this, if you guys are listening to this, through Shellonomics on YouTube or Spotify, please do contact myself or Christian. Let us know in the comments down below how you would rank these 7 series, because we're always up for debates, healthy debates, no personal attacks, just why you like it, what you don't like about it. That was my number 4. 3, though, is IDW. Just what more is there to say? You get a little of everything in there. For me, like some fans, it does tail off a little bit at issue 100. However, just because you don't enjoy the whole thing doesn't mean there's something there to enjoy. The Armageddon game is probably, I could be wrong, but like you're saying, how can you not say it's bigger than City at War? I mean, you're talking across the globe, different dimensions, different alliances. Everybody is in this, and it was so well written that it's got to be the most epic of the bunch in regards to that big battle but there's still two that just got me a little more excited. And number 2 is the Archie series. I had a lot of fun reading these with you earlier this year, Christian. Dude, this was a dream come true for a guy who grew up with the 1987 cartoon, and to see our turtles not be as hokey pokey or chubby or grappling hooks, just fantastic storytelling. Some comics were banned. We talked about that. Some of these comics here, they didn't even re-release. Oh, that's how crazy these were. It was different times. I love the generation I grew up in. I love the colors. I love the artwork. I mean, all the Mutanimals gone just in one shot. It's still, to me, it's put me on the spot. I'm still saying it's the biggest shocker. I know Splinter killing people is a shocker in these comics, but just to see a whole group just gone is just like, are you kidding me? Just you can't even have time to grieve. It was just so sudden reading that series. So that is my number 2. And number 1, Tales of the TMNT. You've been doing these with me, and I don't know if you'll agree, but you know my tone. Dude, I just had so much fun reading those. I mean, the hair on my neck was standing up. I was so engaged. Sometimes doing those shows with you, I was standing up out of my chair just to let me tell you a story. And the reason it's number 1, all these have their own unpredictability, but with those, I really didn't know where it was going. And just for a reader to, again, in this day and age, for some reason, we live in, with our podcast too, in long plays, short content form. These, if you were to ask me where I would want someone to start in Turtles, I'd have no problem saying IDW is where to go first. For me, though, if you know at least a little bit of the Turtles from a comic book or a video game or a TV series or a movie, I just love Tales of the TMNT best. And I don't really know if anybody can counter-argue that. It was fantastic. It was sad that they got canceled when they did too. We talked about that. Just epic stories. I don't know what more you need, but that is mine. So Christian, dude, take all the time you need. I know these are always like, oh, why are you making me do this? But they're fun to do too. I have fun doing these because, like we said, we're not saying this is the greatest, but it's just our personal opinion. And I love doing these with you because I always like to know if you had to pick your brain and they said, okay, these other Ninja Turtles are getting vanished. I know you're having a heart attack, but they're not just, hypothetically speaking, if, just these turtle books are vanishing one by one, which one would you have to cling on like a little kid who holds on to his stuffed animal or a blanket like, no, mommy, no, you're not taking this from me. I just got to know which one stands out best. So thank you for all you do for helping us at Shellonomics. Take the floor and take all the time you need to break this down for your 7 here with these books.
Oh man, yeah. First off, very good ranking there with you. And yeah, for my little ranking that I did there, I gotta say the same thing that I said when we talked about ranking of the movies or ranking of the TV shows or whatever.
Your disclaimer. Your little disclaimer. I got it.
Exactly. Yes, I'm ranking these, but none of these are bad. They're all good. They're all enjoyable. And I love to read them, all of them, over and over again. And as I always say, like, this is the ranking for today. If you ask me tomorrow, it might look different. But for today, my top TMNT comic series, starting with number 7, which is for me the Mirage Comics Volume 2, the color series, pretty much mostly because it was just too short. They were building up a lot of stuff and they weren't able to, they were able to give it a finish, the series, but there was still so much going on and they had so much potential. And it was not the fault of the Mirage guys, but it was just sad to see it end after just 13 issues. And number 6 for me is Mirage Volume 4 for 2 reasons. First off, it's not finished, so we're still hanging on a cliffhanger after all these years. I don't know if we will ever find out what happens next. I hope so. And the second one is that when back then you read it, it was a bi-monthly series, so it only came out every second month, and it was the base for this was really slow. Nowadays, it's I mean, you can read all of them in one sitting, but back then you had to wait 2 months for the next installment, and so the story was really progressing pretty slow. But it's not the story's fault. So number 5 is for me Image Comics, Volume 3. So yeah, I like the Image Comics. I know some people really dislike the Image TMNT comics, but I really thought it was cool. It was interesting. It was very 90s. It was really wild sometimes. And but yeah, that's number 5. Number 4 is for me Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love the tales. I love like these little stories that we get from all of these little times in the Mirage timeline, like some before the Turtles were teenagers, some from the future, and so on and so forth. We get all these big stories. One problem that I have, why I did not rank this even higher, is that some of the stories in the second volume of Tales that started, like had 2 or 3 issues and never got finished. And I'm really sad that this did happen. But overall, Tales of the TMNT, fantastic read. You can just take one book, read it, have a good time, and that's it. You don't have to read the next few if you don't have the time. Just one cool story. That's perfect. That's perfect Tales. Number 3 is for me TMNT Adventures. I love the TMNT Adventures. They were so consistent with the storytelling. They started off as a spin-off from the cartoon and then turned into its whole own thing, like turtles traveling all over the place, finding new friends, finding new enemies, and it sometimes got really dark. And this is the book that really grew up with its audience. Like it started out as like this little fun adventures, and then later on, we got turtles time traveling to this World War II, meeting Hitler and stuff like that. Like it got really wild, and I love it. Number 2 is for me Mirage Comics Volume 1. And I'm talking just the stuff that we already talked about, like the canon stuff, like the Eastman and Laird comics. And there are so many good classic turtle stories, like the first issue, or like Return to New York, City at War. So big storylines, so good storylines that like were recreated in nowadays medias, like in shows or other comic books. And it's like so much good stuff, and this is the start of it all. Mirage Volume 1 is the start of the TMNT multiverse, and that's why we still 40 years later talk about the Turtles. And number 1 for me is the IDW comic series, because it's, I said before, it's like this one series that keeps on going. It keeps on going. It's building. It's shocking. It's got action. It got characters that develop. Like just look at Shredder, what all the stuff that he went through, like from bad guy to ally to who knows what, anti-hero. And yeah, and when characters die, you feel it. When characters pop up, you're really happy, like, oh my God, they got the neutrinos in, and so on and so forth. And they like, but still the main focus is the story, and there's still so much story. And even after this year's, I mean, the series started in 2011, and now 15 years later, I'm still reading them, and I'm still looking forward to every book to come out. And so yeah, that's why for me, it's IDW Comics is number 1. But I gotta say it again, none of these comics are bad. In my opinion, you can read them all and get into the Turtle comics if you have not yet. And which one should you read? If you ask me, all of them, because they're all enjoyable.
Smart choice at number 1. Like we just talked about, you're clinging to a blanket or a plushie. You've got the biggest collection of turtles right there with over 150 books. So you got some big arms like Mr. Fantastic grabbing everything, dude. Tip of the Turtle pizza delivery cap to you, my dude. We did it. Another whole entire series done. Couldn't have done this without you. Look forward to next week, guys. We're going to wrap up all the crossovers. We've got Turtles, Power Rangers 3, Turtles, Godzilla, but we all know as fans, you don't like waiting. You've got those covered on a different station. Our good friend Christian has covered most of those, as well as the new comics, Saturday Morning Adventures, Casey Jones, Shredder miniseries, the current IDW series. Christian, where can they go for more Turtle goodness?
Yeah, if you want to check out more Turtle stuff from my side, check out TMNT Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Talk, which is my podcast, that you can find out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and pretty much everywhere else. Or just go to the website, tmnttalk.com, where you can also find all the social media stuff like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also the Discord, where every TMNT fan is welcome. And yeah, come on over, check it out.
That is going to do it to all who celebrate. Happy Easter weekend to all. Enjoy your Ninja Turtles. I watch the VHS tape episode every year for Easter. Hearing Leonardo say, we'll show them what turtle powder can do, never gets old. So for Christian and I over here on Shellonomics, we're going to end it just like Book 5 did in that last one. Until next time.
Cowabunga, dudes.
Another episode of Shellonomics is in the books. If you guys have not yet, check out all of our other amazing episodes. We've had amazing guests. We've talked about the 1987 cartoon, 2003 cartoon, Next Mutation, Coming Out of Their Shells, video games, the comics, crossover comics like Batman and the Power Rangers, and tons of amazing content with you guys, the fans. Be sure to stop by our YouTube channel, Spotify, and Twitch. And if you have somebody who'd like to be on the show, get in touch with us at kingmikedas@gmail.com. That's KINGMIKEDAS@gmail.com.